Okay, now I want y'all to understand this, right? I'm talking about positivity, and this heifer gonna throw shade on me, okay? Shade on top of the positivity. So that's an oxymoron here.
It's
Okay,
a good
Christina.
thing.
Put you on blast.
Oh my God.
Okay, Zena, your turn.
It's like anything else in life, we're always constantly being tested, right? And it's not a matter of what you do, but it's how you handle the situation. So for me personally, what I started to do, 'cause from the very beginning that all of these different things started to happen, I said, well, how can I potentially be a better person coming out of the situation, whatever this new normal is going to be, versus who I was going in. I have an older brother who does a workout session every morning on Zoom, so I started to do that. I did a 40-day cleanse where I was very, very careful as far as what I ate. But not only was it things that I was feeding my body that I was able to ingest, but also the whole thing with people and the energy and how can I potentially move forward to be the best person that I can be. And if I don't necessarily have the ability to invest in myself, how can I invest in anybody else at the end of the day? You know, the text every morning, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, don't just go sleep. So, yes, you know, but the thing is that it gives you something to look forward to because being confined in the house, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself to be a germaphobe, but once again, when it's hot outside, I don't want this thing on my face and
Right.
having to deal with people and the crowds and you're rushing and you're sweating and everything else. Who wants to deal with that? So it's easier to stay home. But then when you're home, you're lacking the socialization and the interaction that you would usually get, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because
Right.
people, whether you have a good experience with someone or if you
Mhm.
interact with someone that gets on your nerve, it's still an interaction that you could sit there and learn something with. So when you're in the house by yourself all the time, it's kind of like, well, maybe if I have a conversation, hopefully I don't sit there and answer myself back. It's important to break up the day with different things that are able to stimulate you in different ways, whether it's, you know, by listening to music or having a crazy TikTok video sent to you, or, you know, just picking up the phone call and having a conversation with someone. It just makes a difference. And it's all important.
Well, I think Adina and I can say we're addicted to TikTok, okay?
Yes,
TikTok has saved me. And I
same
have
name.
so many people now that are following me, and I don't have one TikTok. So I got something for them. I got a little WAP dance that I'm gonna be doing for them, okay? So
Yeah, I can.
WAP, okay? For me, what has helped me is my crystals. It's very important because I'm an empath and I'm feeling other people's energy. I get sick if someone negative is in the room. And, I went through a bad experience last Monday where it was horrible. And what I've learned to do now is to be positive. Now, I don't mean to be fake positive. I'm talking about just to be positive because positivity is an intention. I don't want to be happy. I want to be joyful. I want to have peace. Happiness is to me a journey. Joy is a destination. So that's why I find positive TikTok videos. People are saying, well, oh my God, I hate Facebook because I'm getting negativity. I'm like, I don't have negativity on my page because people know, and it's all about positivity. So for me, I've chosen to now meditate. I've chosen to walk when I can walk. I've chosen to, I'm going to get back into yoga, but I go to salt cave therapy, inhale the Himalayan salt. And I'm telling you, watch old shows like last week I lost a bet with my husband. I had to watch Baywatch. Of all shows, I had to watch Baywatch. But you know what? No lie. Mitch was the thing for me back in the day, so I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with that. Christina Funk said I do that on a regular basis. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm learning now. And here's the thing that T has taught me that I'm working on because I know three of my friends, they do this on every Sunday at 3 o'clock, and I was included in it, but I got so wrapped up, I stopped doing it. I'm going back to taking naps. Naps are my friend. I do Nidra yoga, and when I do Nidra meditation, you can do it for 20 minutes and you feel like you've slept for like 3 or 4 hours. So naps now I'm going to incorporate in my schedule, let my interns and stuff know, like, look, mama needs to sleep for at least 45 minutes. Now, I think it's because I don't sleep enough. That's why I'm so hyper. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. But I don't, that's a lie. I'm always hyped. So I don't even know I'm lying about that. So that's what I'm looking to do. Like Zena, I'm cleansing my system. You know, I'm doing all of that stuff. I'm eating cleaner foods, less processed, because there's vegan processed food. I'm cooking more now. I'm just enjoying Jackie because I'm like, damn, I wouldn't marry you. I would just side chick you. You know what I'm saying? Because of my personality. I still give you wifely status, but you'd be side chick, okay? So I know me. I can't deal with this 24 hours. So I don't know how my husband does it, but he does it. Don't know. So he deserves a special award. And plus, I love when we're texting each other, and you know, T is giving us the knowledge. Adina is sending us Spanish stuff. Zena is like sending us analytical stuff. And like, see, I'm careful when I send stuff because I think Zena's like, there's no way the cow can cross the street in that many minutes. So I'm very careful. You know how you have the people who check your grammar, you know, those people, which I don't bother with anymore. Zena, I'm nervous when I'm sending something because I'm like, does this make sense? It don't have to make sense, but let me make sure it makes sense. I'll be changing the joke and everything. That's how Zena messed me up. Okay, so now T, what do you do?
I started working out, so I go 3 times a week. You know, then I started doing a little bit in my house. There's a new app too, but I be missing the one that Zena sent me because it conflicts with the days that I do be out working out with my trainer. But peace of mind, letting go of people who didn't need to be a part of my space anymore, who serve their purpose. And sometimes we hold on to people that shouldn't be in our space for a certain amount of time that can cause us to have imbalance that goes on. Releasing myself of those things have allowed me to have peace be still time to reflect on what I truly want to do, who I truly am, what really works, what really don't work. When we are on the hustle and bustle that society has, what's the word I'm looking for? They have trained us to be on this hump on a daily 1, 2, 3. You go
the grind,
the grind. So when we are on the hump and bump, we can't really pay attention to what's really real in our true reality, which is where you go sleep, where you go spend majority of your evening and overnights at, where it's very valuable, important to have that sanctuary to go home to. Sometimes we don't have it and we fake it till we make it, like the same way with the family dynamics, you know. But when you truly have that time to sit still, you're able to have more clarity and get rid of all the outside space that don't necessarily or should not be a part of our personal space. You know what I mean? We need to put more into that time than the hustle and bustle, because rich people, they don't put time into the hustle and bustle like we do. We the rat race. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. To continue with my health so that I could be better at whatever it is I'm going to take part in my next journey.
I like that you're saying that because it's almost like to hear that we've been programmed to grind.
Yes, that's the word. Yes.
And that's all we do. And I feel like if we can disconnect, and I feel like everything that we're capable of will happen. But since we're grinding so much and we've been taught to just do that, we've lost ourselves and all the magic that we have and all our creativity, and we're just stuck in this. I almost look at this as a major opportunity to reinvent myself. Right. And, you know, we've had this opportunity, this platform, thanks to Jackie, to express that, and we're not alone. There are people out there that feel exactly like we do, like, wow, I'm really finding myself. I'm really finding what I want to do. And
some people was having anxiety about being home because they so programmed to the hustle and bustle that they're having panic attacks to really be home.
Yes, they were. And I wonder where they're at now, what they're doing, because we're still here. We're still trying to get back to what? What are we trying to get back to? We want to go back to that kind of a living, or are we trying to create a new life for ourselves? That is very unexpected for certain people on certain tiers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they don't like this because they're not in control of us anymore. We see how entrepreneurs, and we're okay. We're making it. Oh, we're making it. All
Right.
right.
Because we're used to making it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for those who are on the bottom tier, this ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Exactly.
okay, because you perfected it. And when you know how to make it work, you know how to, if you have $50, how much rice, beans, and whatever you have to stretch. Where some who they only have $50,000 and they're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And all that kind of stuff. I think for the last 6 years, people don't understand the Matrix and the Terminator means so much to me. For me, and it's a spiritual thing. So for me, I've unplugged out of the Matrix for maybe 5 years. Well, what I did was I unplugged from the Matrix and then I went back in. And then I said, Jackie, you're going to have to cut the cord. Okay, cut it. Because when the cord is cut, you can't put electrical tape on it if you cut it the way you need to cut it. So that's what I've chosen to do. So I'm no longer in the Matrix. I'm watching people who are in the Matrix who are losing their minds.
Right.
You know, like they just don't know how to cope, whether it's, oh my God, my kid now has to be home with me. What am I going to do? And these are the same kids when the teacher was calling you and telling you that your child won't sit down, your child is misbehaving, you're yelling at the teacher, you're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's face it, most people between commuting time, maybe 10 to 13 hours a day. So when you come home, your child's already tired and exhausted. So you get the smidgen of their behavior. So now you get to see their behavior. And I'm challenging people to go out there, send an email, send some doggone flowers to these teachers that are in the schools that you were saying that, oh no, not my child. So we have to figure out a way of how to. And what I want people to take away from this, if you don't know how to, ask. The information is out there. Ask.
Tight lips don't get fed, all right?
Thank you. Thank you. So ask people and don't look at it as being weak. And if you need therapy, seek therapy, because my therapist has told me that she cannot take on any more clients now. And her clients are all related to COVID, not just family dying of COVID, but because they're home and they're confined, divorce rates have gone up, domestic abuse have gone up. It's just crazy. And you get to see now with your children, because this one lady called me, she's like, Jackie, I don't like my children. I said, neither do I. Okay. So it was like, Dina, I had to tell her the truth. You know?
I just say something. I challenge every mother who's at home with their children to take a look around to see what's really important. Is it chasing that dollar bill or rearing our future? Because our future is bleak because these children don't have the rearing anymore. You know what I mean? The teachers cannot train your children to be good human beings. They're only there with them to give them some information that they may not even use when they leave the school. You get what I'm saying? But it's to be retained for certain things. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that the first teacher is the mom. And we don't lost that space because everybody want to be so independent. We lost a lot out of the Independent Act. Not saying that you have independence, meaning that because you taking care of your children that you can't work and do what you got to do. It's all about being sacrificial. When you have a child, there's nothing you won't do for them. So you will make time for that instead of making time to be with the girls or to be with some who can't do nothing for you. But that's just the real of how it is. Put your on lock and pay attention to the children that you popped out of that.
Cardi B, you don't see what you done did for my show. Cardi B.
My apologies.
With that number one song, you don't see what you done did.
That's what we need to talk about.
Wait. Pamela, absolutely. Ali said, all right. Pamela said, right. Ali said, true. Valerie said, 100%. Ali said, right. Children are suffering. And Pamela said, okay.
And we passionate. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm sorry. But I love you all. I love you.
Deborah says so true. With the pandemic, a lot of truths are being uncovered. You now have to be still and address the home issues. Here's the issue that I have as well. These children should come out smarter than us. And what I mean by that is,
good luck.
As a parent, you should not be teaching them about Christopher Columbus.
Right.
Okay. So they should be more versed in history than we were. The
Yeah.
Plymouth Rock, who was truly discovered, you know, America, who was here first, you know, Asians did with the railroad, what Black America has done. And that's why I challenge my kids. I don't want to hear when we're doing Black History Month, or I'm giving you a book report to do, you're talking about Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. No. Do you know how many things we've invented? Let's go there. And then the parents are telling me, well, what should I do? So we have to address that. We have to address this. We have to
find out.
Huh? What'd you say?
Google it. There's too many ways to find out.
So-
Knowledge is power. It's infinite on the internet right now.
Mhm.
Seek and you shall find. There's no excuses. If you don't know, like Jackie said, ask somebody. Call someone who you know is conscious to ask them what site should I go on to find out about history. So this is the time, not no buffoonery, no cartoons that's been training our children to be class clowns and idiots. Okay?
Well, Jackie, I love TikTok, and it has an algorithm. The ones that you decide to click on is what they'll eventually send you. And I think that a lot of the stuff that I've gotten is a lot of kids are really coming out with all the history, and putting it out there. And what I found myself doing is, especially with the Hispanic history, is going and reading up on that. I mean, I'm having kids teach me things that I didn't know, and I love it. And that's like you're saying, like we need to start relearning everything that we were taught, because it's incorrect.
I suggest to children, sorry to cut you off, watch Hamilton. Hamilton is an awesome play. That's
love it.
Is they can understand what took place at that time and why he's important. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because really about Hamilton. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that you got Disney Plus. You should be sitting your ass down instead of watching Beyonce.
Okay. T. We playing this on don't stick your lip up. We're playing on this and on YouTube.
Okay.
So far, I've gotten 4 strikes from YouTube, so I'm sure they're gonna kick me out because I think you get 4 strikes. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So it is what it is. No. When they like ban you, put you in jail, or tell you never to come back on YouTube again. One of those things. But I just wanted to share that with you. That's all. Don't worry about it. Just wanted to share that with you. But now is the time, because I see friends who are, teachers in kindergarten, and these kids go to school. They don't know their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. And, the first thing when you're off of school, your address. What's your address? I don't know. And I don't understand, how are you giving a child who's under 13 an iPhone? Again, I'm not here judging, and I'm hearing, well, something can happen to them. Nothing happened to us. Indiscretions that happened when we were younger that are happening now. It's happened when we were younger.
Right.
It hasn't gone up. It's just because now we have the iPhones, we can videotape things. And I'm talking about kids who they're bad butt kids and they have the latest technology. I'm not talking about kids who they're doing well in school and they just ask for iPhone. It's not a big deal. It's not like they're asking for Jordans. We're not going to go there, okay? Because it triggers me with the Jordans. And, so I get that. But the bad butt kids who are out there, they're getting, some of these kids' phones are better than mine. I think they're on the plus, or whatever it's called. When I was on the 4, they were on the 7. And I'm like, dang, and
the Joneses.
Exactly. And it doesn't make sense, because I'd rather have no furniture in the house and your child has the knowledge, because one of my shows, I'm going to be interviewing a young man. He's 13 years old. When he was 8, Forbes wrote him up on being a day trader. 13 years old and he's a day trader. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So his mother's a single mom, 3 kids, and she made it happen. So I don't understand where we went wrong. And I'm going to use the word wrong, because I've seen some kids, they can sing that Cardi B, they can do the bounce. And when you ask them spell that, what does that mean? They can't spell it, because that amazes me. But if you put on a Frankie Beverly and the Maze, they're like, what's that? Parents are not teaching their children history, because majority of the rappers that are now who are horrible, okay, not all of them, but majority of them are horrible. They've sampled music. And when you talk to the young kids, oh no, this is the original. This is the original.
Right.
And there's no originality anymore.
No.
Everything is a remake of a remake.
Right. They don't
So
know good music. They don't hear good music. Remember back in the day, you grew up hearing good music. Your parents was playing the good music. Now it's none of that. It's bobblehead stuff that's confusion that have these kids confused. They don't know what they want to do. They don't want to listen to you, but they listen to outsiders. Everything is all backwards and reverse. You know what I mean? I don't play that. I play good tone. My daughter played what I used to play. My son played what I used to play. He got some new stuff, but he mostly listens. I hear that they listen to what I was listening to, like some Mary, some good R&B. The ones that had that the tone that kept you a little bit more conscious.
Right.
Right, and I mix it up. I mix it up for me because I'll listen to that, and then I'll listen to a Cardi B. I'll listen to, there's rappers. I listen to the Commons. So I think I have a good mixture between ratchet all the way down to, bluegrass and all that kind of stuff. So I think
like Cash Money now too. Cash dolls.
Okay. All right. I thought she was gonna say City Girls because it sounded like the way she was talking.
No,
Thank you.
That's what I'm like.
Okay, I'm like, yeah.
I won't say the word.
Yeah, Deborah said these parents are not parenting. They want to be friends. They want to wear the same clothes. They want to say, "That's my best friend." When I see these moms saying, "Oh, she's sick," that's my best friend. How is that my best friend?
Period.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, so I want everyone to know these women are instrumental to my life. We're all from New York. We're all from the boogie down Brooklyn. I'm not gonna say Bronx because Bronx don't exist. Okay, y'all can hate me on that. You know they gonna like that part. Brooklyn is one of the best boroughs in New York. Let's face it. Majority of the celebrities are from Brooklyn, from Barbra Streisand. I think I did a study on that, and we would have, let's say, for example, 600 celebrity singer or whatever, and all the other boroughs. Bronx maybe 4. 2, I don't know. Depends if you can. No, I'm not going to even go there. But anyway,
and forget about Staten Island.
What?
Don't you talk about Staten Island with the
what do we call that? Who wants to say it? The dump?
Oh yeah, it was like Jersey.
The dump? Who's going to the dump? Who goes to the dump?
Hey, forever. Woo. That's the only thing I'm repping.
That's the only thing that's there.
If that's the case, you had old dirty bastards. So I don't know if you want to. I'll represent some of them.
Oh, that's
some of them.
We connected.
Yeah, but he moved over there. Okay, so I want to bring this to talk about 9/11. Do you think New York has changed since 9/11, good or bad? And how has 9/11 personally impacted your life? Let's start with Zena.
Well, New York is no longer the New York that we knew it to be. Between 9/11, that changed things drastically, of course, given the situation. And now, even with COVID now, it's like a lot of people's livelihood is in jeopardy because of the mere fact that so many businesses are closing. I was reading an article yesterday, and they were talking about the Upper West Side, how what they've done is a lot of the homeless, they ended up placing them in hotels on the Upper West Side. So now what's happening is between the mental illness, because they're dealing with a lot of people that are mentally ill, people sleeping in the street, there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of prostitution and things like that now. So people are moving away. So what does that mean? Even today I was talking with a very dear friend of mine, and we were saying, even with the restaurant industry now because the weather is nice, they have the ability to have the little outside, the curbside eating and things like that. But once the weather gets cold and we start to go into the winter season, what are those restaurants going to do? Because they're not going to be able to survive unless they delivery service or pickup, even for that matter. So 9/11 was the beginning of something that now has developed into something that's much bigger than what we all could have ever possibly imagined. And it's going to be interesting to see moving forward how that develops, because, we've experienced a lot of unemployment thus far, and we're going to continue to see a lot of unemployment, even with the post office. I mean, look with the new election coming up, that's a major issue too. And even as far as people's ability to have the freedom to vote, something that our forefathers fought for us to be able to freely be able to vote. I mean, even that is in jeopardy because the mail service no longer has sorting machines. So they have people that are manually sorting mail. So how does that affect the upcoming election with the ballots and things like that? And then you have people that are relying on the mail service for medication, or we have a lot of people that are not necessarily technology savvy, so they do a lot of their banking by hand. You go to a bank and the lines are up the block and everything is a line, right? So it's interesting to see how things are going to develop. And to kind of piggyback off of what we were saying as far as our mental state, at least right now, because the summer we have the ability to get out a little bit more. But what is the PTSD levels and therapy and all of that going to really, really look like when it starts to get dark at 4 o'clock in the evening and you can't go out, or because it's too cold, or if it's snowing? It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it affects the family dynamic, but also how it just affects people as a whole. It's kind of like being in a fight and you're trying to take the punches that are coming in, and you're sitting there, you're blocking and everything else. But no matter how much you block, you're still really getting really beat up. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops.
T,
I don't want to sound kind of harsh like that, but
be yourself. Just censor the
it
cursing.
didn't affect me either way. You know, I mean, it was sad that people had died in the process, but it's so many things that we've been going through before 9/11 and still going through after 9/11. So it really didn't affect me, good or bad. You get what I'm saying? If anything, things got worse to me. It got worse because once the 9/11 hit, that's what made the security and the police officers become more brutal to our people on the streets, especially our young Black males. You know what I mean? So it did not affect us in a positive way. It just made them make us more candidates for them to stop and frisk and all this other stuff that they started to do on the streets of Brooklyn with our young Black men. You know, and we wasn't even part of the terrorist act, but because of that situation, that just made them become more brutal for us in the community.
Wow.